Okay, it's Mystery Secret Searchers, Episode 11, The Bishop's Curse. In Episode 10, we learned of the Bishop's house and the journal story that went with it. Knights Templar, guard it well, from Dunvegan in a swell. Leod's son, a fine blade, strange mysteries are now made. Well, Knights Templar, that's an interesting reference. We'll have to see where that leads us. Guard it well. What could they be guarding? Well, this really revolves around Reverend Alexander MacDonald. When he came over from Dunvegan in Scotland, he was rumored to bring not only his parishioners, but also some of the MacLeod artifacts, which may have included something that we're very interested in, something called the Clan MacLeod sword. The journal article mentions Leod's son. Well, MacLeod is Scottish for Leod's son, son of Leod, MacLeod. And it says, a fine blade. That's the blade, that's the sword we're looking for. As we were told in episode 10, the Bishop House was plagued by many hardships. Reverend Alexander MacDonald maybe brought upon a curse to himself and his parishioners. Certainly the burning of St. Raphael's Church was not a good thing. Was that part of the curse? Father Alexander MacDonald opened up the bishop's house as a seminary to train priests, but that didn't last very long. It's now an abandoned bishop's house with some strange occurrences that occur in it. When Alexander MacDonald transferred the sword to John MacDonald, who he knew here in Glengarry, John MacDonald suffered many hardships. And at the time of his death, we believe he might have passed the sword on to either John MacLeod, our journal writer, or maybe Caribou Cameron. Caribou Cameron, of course, was known for going out to British Columbia to the Caribou gold fields. He was out in Barkerville. That's where he's laid to rest. There was also the interesting story of Caribou Cameron bringing his wife back in an alcohol-filled coffin all the way back from British Columbia to Charlottenburg, or to Cornwall area. And she's buried there today. The other heirlooms of the Dunvegan Castle in Scotland include the fairy flag, the Dunvegan Cup, and a drinking cup. And these ones still remain in Dunvegan Castle, but the sword of the Clan MacLeod is the one that is missing. Is it possible that Caribou Cameron took the sword with him on one of his trips to British Columbia? He did go back several times. There were quite a few, I don't know, I think they're coincidences, but maybe not, in the names of places in British Columbia and in Glengarry. We have Quesnel, BC. We have Quesnels in Glengarry. We have Alexandria in Glengarry. We have Alexandria in British Columbia. We have Barkerville that Caribou Cameron established. And Ashcroft, where a lot of things went on with the mining of copper. So the gold mining, just out west in the Rockies is an area I think we're going to have to pursue. These images you're looking at right now are of Priest's Mill, and that's again Father Alexander MacDonald's doing. In 1815, he constructed a stone grist mill beside a small pond fed by Loch Garry in the Glengarry area. This area became known as Priest's Mill. In 1883, its name was changed to Alexandria. Mill Square was the very heart of the village. It's also known as the Red Brick area, and you'll see a lot of red brick buildings that still remain to this day. And of course, living in the 1800s, there was a strong tie between religion and the military. In an article called The Big Bishop, Alexander MacDonald of Kingston, found in By Sea, By Land, volume number 38, number 1, we learned some interesting facts of Reverend Alexander MacDonald. He was born in Scotland near Loch Ness. his family were friends of the Camerons, and we have a link to Caribou Cameron here in Glengarry. He also knew Sir John Johnson. We'll have a little bit more about him later. He was a military officer. He came to Upper Canada from New York as a result of the American Revolutionary War as part of the United Empire Loyalists. We also had some interesting quotes. One quote I have here from Sir John A. MacDonald, who was the first Prime Minister of Canada. He told a story that said, when the troops crossed the ice from Prescott towards Augsburg, one of the soldiers tried to slip away. The chaplain, and they meant Alexander MacDonald, ordered him to stand fast. When he disobeyed, Father MacDonald promptly excommunicated him. Father MacDonald believed that men should either be priests or soldiers. Very interesting kind of information about the priest. So there you have it. Thanks for watching Mystery Secret Searchers. Please subscribe.